Good afternoon, everybody. How we doing? We good?
We are now.
Yeah. All right, welcome to the April 19th SANDAG Public Safety Committee meeting. Before we start, I would like to ask our interpreter to be introduced and walk us through the process for interpretation services for today's meeting.
Announcement from interpreter. To use the interpretation feature, please scroll to the bottom of the Zoom screen where the meeting controls are. Click on the interpretation icon, world, and select English as your language. If you are joining through the Zoom mobile app, cell phone, tablet, etc., please press the ellipsis, then interpretation, and then choose your language. Finally, click on mute original audio to not hear the original Spanish low in the background. Headsets are available for interpretation. If you are in the meeting room, please check out a headset from the receptionist in the lobby. Aviso por parte del intérprete. Para hacer uso del servicio de interpretación, favor de desplazarse a la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom, donde aparecen los controles. Haga clic en el icono de interpretación, que es el globo terráqueo, y seleccione Spanish, español. Si está utilizando la aplicación móvil de Zoom, celular, tableta, etc., presione los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego idioma. Si no desea escuchar el audio original en inglés en el fondo, por favor seleccione Mute Original Audio, que es silenciar audio original. Contamos con auriculares disponibles para el servicio de interpretación. Si se encuentra en la sala de reunión, favor de pedir auriculares con la recepcionista en el vestíbulo. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we please get started with the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. And before we jump into the meeting, I will ask our clerk to confirm that we have quorum.
Yes, Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody of our process for members and public comments. Members can simply raise their hands to speak at the appropriate points of the agenda. For members of the public, individuals present at SANDAG must complete a speaker slip and present it to the clerk, which will be taken first, followed by anybody else that is online. If you're a member of the public and would like to speak on any item virtually, please use the raised hand icon in the Zoom toolbar once we reach that item on the agenda. If you're calling into the meeting, please press the *9 on your phone if you would like to comment on an item. All comments, whether emailed or live, will be part of today's meeting record. And just for the record, we will be allowing for 1 minute public comments today. Before moving on with our agenda, we do want to take a moment to honor the memory of Chula Vista Police Department Assistant Chief Phil Collum, who lost his short battle against a rare form of cancer this past Saturday evening at his home, surrounded by his family and his loved ones. Assistant Chief Collum was a beacon of light to the law enforcement community, whose dedication, expertise, and unwavering commitment to excellence left an indelible mark. SANDAG had the privilege to work alongside him in various evaluation programs with the Chula Vista Police Department and serving together for many years in seconds and command group, as well as on the Argus Chiefs Sheriff's Management Committee. More than police officer and a public servant, Phil was a cherished friend and integral member of his community, whose kindness, dedication, and compassion continued to inspire us all. Though Phil may no longer be able to walk along us, his spirit, legacy, and memory endure within our hearts. In this moment, let us offer our deepest condolences to his family, his loved ones, and colleagues, and let us now pause for a moment of silence to reflect on the profound impact Mr. Phil Collum made in all of our lives and work. Thank you. Starting with our agenda, we have agenda item number 1, non-agenda public comment. Do we have any comments from members of the public?
Yes, we have 2. We have Truth and Michael Brando. Truth?
I'm here to talk about criminals like Slush Fund Turkey Jose. Tisk national cities on my list. Hiring for consulting, Cindy Lopez, president of the brand new National City Democratic Club, with Jose Cannabis Cerda and Barbara Avalos, and organizing certain people to attend city council meetings and getting PR created at the $47,000 expense of taxpayers during election season. But you know what's good? Both political parties are self-imploding, and they need to go, as anyone who belongs to a political party has an inherent conflict of interest against the country in favor of a party's wishes, whatever they pay for. And Kelly, I know it's out of your jurisdiction, but maybe you could get National City on your radar in Summer Stefan's ear. And how about, you guys know Yan Lee? She is dead. She was served with an eviction notice, and total of 12 deputies and police shot her. And now the city of San Diego is going to pay out a measly $125,000 to settle her son's wrongful death lawsuit. A lot of criminals going on in this county. I wish you'd do something about it, especially a national city, in 60 seconds.
Michael Brando?
Speaking of public safety, many of you were involved in the counterfeit pandemic. Hashan Elo, Hashan, not Sean, 2, promoting nonsense for the last 4 years. And if you think that that does not have an effect on the energy field in this area and the potential to create havoc, crime, despair, you're fooling yourself. I'm going to recommend this book again. It's called The Final Pandemic, An Antidote to Medical Tyranny, An Antidote to Medical Tyranny by Doctors Mark and Samantha Bailey. It's got great color pictures in here. It's a little bit more expensive because of that, but the information is incredible. The good news is that because of this, this is what has awakened so many more people about the nature of these institutions like SANDAG. I wouldn't have been here if it hadn't been for this. Check it out. Thanks.
And we have 1 virtual, the original draw.
Yeah, it's interesting as we talk about public safety, but you guys are sitting here and you're depriving the citizens of their rights, which is at 18 USC 242, deprivation of rights under the color of law. It's a federal statute. It's a federal offense. You're also conspiring, which is 241, and all of the officers in there, anybody that has a badge has the duty and obligation to uphold our rights and make sure they're not being usurped, and that's under 245. But all of you guys are engaging in bringing in and harboring aliens, which is Title 8 USC subsection 1324, and you are aiding and abetting in the invasion of our border. Because as we talk about public safety, there is a safety risk that is happening when we are aiding and abetting illegal aliens to come into our nation and commit crimes across the nation, coming through our area in San Diego. And nobody is doing anything about it except for being complicit in it and aiding and abetting. And you guys are committing crimes. These are felonies that have jail time. And so you should all be criminally held liable for this.
Your time is up. And that concludes public comments.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from committee members?
I do myself. My name is Dave McQueen. So good afternoon, Chair Rodriguez and other committee members. Dave McQueen with Rancho Santa Fe Fire. I am the fire chief there. I'm also the interim president for the San Diego County Fire Chiefs Association. Just wanted to give you guys a few notes. So the San Diego County Fire Chiefs Association met on March 7th and the April 4th. The San Diego County OES, or Office of Emergency Services, is slightly delayed by about 30 days in rolling out the Genesis EVAC platform, which we probably looked at happening. But it is now scheduled to go live on May 31st of 2024. CAOES has distributed several more fire apparatus to other fire agencies within San Diego County. They placed a request for these apparatus and they were awarded. So Valley Center received a Type 1 structure engine with urban search and rescue capabilities. Paula Fire Department received a Type 3 brush engine. Verona Fire Department also received a Type 3 brush engine. And the Viejas Fire Department received a Type 6 patrol engine. So now what we have in San Diego County, as far as what OES has brought into our area, we have 12 Type 1 structure engines, 12 Type 3 brush engines, and 3 Type 6 patrol engines. So this will allow us to at least send out 6 strike teams out of San Diego if the need is ever requested. The training section for the San Diego County Fire Chiefs Association will be facilitating the annual county wildland drill from April 30th through May 2nd of 2024. City of Chula Vista is hosting this year. The training provides incident command, fire suppression tactics and strategies, communication, air operations, and provides a valuable time for collaboration between all cooperators, meaning fire, law enforcement, emergency management, county OES, and SDG&E. Camp Pendleton will be hosting Fire School again this year. This is training that will be currently scheduled for June 3rd through June 7th. This is live fire training for firefighters out in the grasslands. So this gives them a good hands-on firefighting skills. Both of these events that I've just now described are in preparation for whatever fire season may look like for 2024. That is the end of the report. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Musgrove.
Chief, if you don't mind, the apparatus you identified going out into the rural areas, is that seasonal or is that going to be permanently staged?
The apparatus that I described through OES or CalOES.
CalOES.
Yeah, so that is, you can utilize that for a local resource if needed, but it is a deployable resource throughout the state of California and within XSD operational area.
Okay, so that is the new home base then at these particular
Those will be the
locations.
new home bases for those apparatus that I just mentioned, correct?
Fantastic. Thank
Yep.
you.
Any additional comments? All right, if no further comments, we're moving on to consent. Clerk, are there any public comments on this item?
Yes, I have 1, truth. And 2, virtual.
A whole 2 months ago, and I guess that's just because there wasn't any meeting since then. I guess public safety isn't a top priority for SANDAG. And I see that Jose started the meeting late by 2 minutes, although I'm actually not a stickler about time, only a stickler for controversy, especially here at SANDAG, and especially regarding those who create their own controversy, Jose. And not that it really matters, but the minutes have Bergman's name spelled incorrectly. It has 2 N's last I checked. But don't worry, the guy clearly suffers from psychosis, a disconnection from reality, so he won't even notice. His crazy ham sandwich lines even followed him back to the county, courtesy of myself, of course. But you know what? These minutes reveal that there's always SB 54 for the real crazies. Thank you.
Virtual, I have Blair Beekman. Blair.
Hi. Yeah, sorry about that. It took a minute for me to get going here. Yeah, I've only got 1 minute, huh? 1 minute for a short meeting today. Can it be 2 minutes? Okay, with 1 minute, just thanks a lot for the meeting today. I'm a little late, sorry about that. You had your previous public meeting, you had county and sheriff's reports and that they've been addressing a lot of Argus issues lately, and you had an Argus item. Boy, I wish I could have attended the county sheriff's meeting on Argus issues in the past few months. I hope they can learn how to make that public meeting process accessible. If they have recordings of it, I can ask about that and ask yourselves. Hopefully something can work out. It was really important. We're learning how to make it a more accessible process for all of us to understand. Good luck in those efforts, what we all can be doing towards accessibility in the coming months here in San Diego. Thank you.
Original draw.
Yeah, when Luke is sitting there talking last time about this CARE Act program and how it's voluntary yet it's court ordered, that is to hold a lie to the people. And he's talking about people that are disconnected from reality. I would say that's all of you guys and even Luke, because you're not even able to, acknowledge the border invasion that is happening and the fact that our nation is at risk, and you guys are totally complicit in it. And then Argis, it's like Argis will sit there and share information about me because I've been arrested at a meeting, right? And then it holds the information against me and deprives me of my rights, which is a federal offense. But then we can have, the engagement on the border. It just doesn't make sense how you guys can that releasing these illegals onto the streets has always been a crime that would be punishable. And now you're being told and telling people to release them onto the streets, and they're committing murders and rapes and engaging in pedophilia. You guys are complicit in that.
And that concludes comments.
Thank you. Are there any comments from committee members? No objections. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion, Chair. Second.
Thank you. Motion by Campillo, second by Mr. Anderson. Are we using these clickers today?
Yes.
We are. All right. Please vote.
Mine is off. That's off.
And that item passes with those members present.
I think so. Mr. Anderson, did you vote by any chance?
I did.
You did.
I saw it go up.
Okay.
Take me off?
He is, okay. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. Thanks for asking, though.
Thanks.
Do you need me to vote twice?
Just once, thank you. Moving on to item number 3, which will be presented by our very own Dr. Octavio Rodriguez and Mr. Anthony Ray.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Octavio Rodriguez. I'm the principal criminal justice researcher here at SANDAG. And along with my colleague, Anthony Ray from Argis, we're going to present item number 3. And I'm going to present regarding my division, the Criminal Justice Research Division here at SANDAG, that for more than 45 years has been the main source of criminal justice information and analysis in the region. This division has contributed to important reforms and enhancements to the criminal justice system by evaluating the impact and effectiveness of multiple programs from different agencies and organizations. As the main resource for criminal justice information and analysis in the region, the Clearinghouse project here at SANDAG collects, verifies, and analyzes crime data and publishes analysis through multiple publications such as flashes, bulletins, and briefs, inform local task forces, groups, and commissions, and provide objective measures, actionable recommendations, and suggestions for pressing and timely issues. Speaking about our accomplishments during calendar year 2023, we brought more than $2 million to the region and the state through outside funding. We had our data available in our own site within the SANDAG's new open data portal. We published over 15 reports on different topics. which translated in more than 140 media mentions. And 3 out of 5 of those mentions had to do with two of our flagship publications, the substance abuse monitoring and the crime bulletins. And of course, this is just a snapshot of the important work that our agency does and the contributions to the region. Every year regarding our analysis and publications, we cover a wide array of topics such as crime trends, public safety expenditures, arrests, drug use, and information on victims and suspects of crimes. Additionally, we look at timely topics that need closer attention. For example, last year, we had special focus publications about homelessness, mental health, and gun crime. Additionally to our functions as the clearinghouse project, our division works hard to bring $5 of outside funding for every $1 of clearinghouse funds provided by membership contributions. We do that by collaborating with outside agencies and organizations to evaluate different adult and juvenile programs. For adults, for example, we have federal, state, and local evaluations that look at programs addressing different topics such as housing stability for individuals in the criminal justice system, racial profiling in law enforcement, gun violence, and/or crime prevention. Regarding our juvenile evaluations, we collaborate with organizations on programs that are geared towards diversion from the traditional justice system, prevention, and to avoid contact by juveniles with the system in the first place, and to increase awareness of drug use among juveniles, mainly cannabis. One of our main duties is to staff this committee. The PSC has always been an important forum for information and discussion of public safety and criminal justice related issues. Last year, we had important conversations regarding the transition to the new NIBRS and CYBRS crime reporting system. We analyzed trends in gun crime in the region. We talked about drug use among arrestees in local jails, or discussed challenges with staffing and overtime within law enforcement agencies. So now let's look at our next fiscal year and how does it look in terms of funding and programming. Our projected budget for fiscal year 2025 is $2.5 million. The majority of which goes to our evaluation programs, as you can see, both adult and juvenile. This year, we're bringing over $7 in outside funding per every $1 clearinghouse dollar, which is provided by membership contributions. And it's important to mention that a big portion of this funds are pass-through funds to outside agencies and organizations. So for example, adult projects include pass-through funds to be awarded to smaller community-based organizations or law enforcement agencies in the state of California in their efforts to address gun crime and violence. This year, more than half of the full division budget are pass-through funds, and 4 out of $5 of the adult evaluation projects are indeed adult pass-through funds. These allocations will allow us to continue our relevant work to keep providing useful information. For example, to continue the substance abuse monitoring program. Just as a reference, this is the only one remaining program of a series of similar initiatives launched nationwide in 2004. And once that program was cut, SANDAG was able to continue the important work on this issue, working with member contributions and the support of other institutions such as the San Diego Imperial High Density Drug Trafficking Area, or HIDA, the Health and Human Services Agency from the County of San Diego, and with the close cooperation with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. In this regard, agencies across the region can always review our instrument and suggest questions and topics. For example, recently, we have included more questions regarding fentanyl use by the suggestion on federal and local agencies. Finally, we will keep generating and analyzing general relevant timely information through our clearinghouse project to support regional decision-making in public safety and criminal justice issues, and to support adult and juvenile criminal justice programming by using our research expertise to generate evidence-based measures of performance and recommendations. And here's just a breakdown of how our budget for the fiscal year in 2025 will be allocated. This is the how is it going to divided in the adult programs, and this is the breakdown of our juvenile programs. And so for fiscal year 2025, we want to keep our priorities of serving as the central hub for public safety information, developing important projects to address questions and timely issues. Of course, support the long-term sustainability of our division by bringing more outside funding. And of course, continue serving in groups, committees to impact strategies here to improve the criminal justice system as a whole. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Octavio. Good afternoon, Public Safety Committee. So I'll start with the ARGIS accomplishments, and then I'll follow up with the budget after that. Wrong clicker.
Yes.
Okay, ARGIS started about 44 years ago, and ARGIS initially was just a data warehouse sharing where we would collect information and share information. I think over the past 40 years, ARGIS has become a one-stop shop for information sharing and investigative support. And you can see we do much more. And we have a 24/7 secure network. We have an on-call 724 helpline. We provide access to data to the public. We operate under a regional governance structure. We have a policy development area, and we do data validation for our agency. So we do more than just collect and share. And I'll show you some of the things. Our accomplishments in 2023, we received $1.3 million in UASI grant funds for new applications. We trained 180 new users in all of our ARGIS applications. We transitioned from CopLink to Crime Tracer, and then also phase 2 of our ARGIS crime mapping dashboard. We hired a full-time trainer, and our full-time trainer is actually Linda Chimino, who's also clerking this building back here. Thank you, Linda. We completed the Cybers transition and developed quality control procedures for all of our participating agencies, and that took several years, but it was completed in this last year. We migrated our ARGIS test and development environments from the SANDAG office location here physically to our new data centers at the San Diego Sheriff's Department. So now we have 2 data centers, one at the San Diego Sheriff's Department, one in Phoenix at the National Law Enforcement Telecommunications Center, so we have redundant systems in case one goes down. And we've also deployed much new equipment for network and server storage at both of those centers. Key committee accomplishments, we reconvened the technical working group. And the technical working group is a group of representatives from our 13 contributing agencies who provide data to ARGIS. And the mission of this group is to give recommendations to ARGIS on pieces of equipment or applications from the actual field users that we have out there. And I'd like to note that Phil Collum, who recently passed, was actually the impetus between getting this committee started again. We also approved 17 motions from our business working group. The business working group is made up of representatives from each of our 13 contributing agencies. We meet monthly with them, and these recommendations go to the Chiefs and Sheriffs Committee, and they were based on policy and procedures, information sharing, and how we're going to actually do business within the region. Then we reviewed and approved 4 new crime reporting processes and provided a number of support for different meetings. Our ARGIS data doesn't just go to law enforcement entities. I mean, we have universities, we have individual students who will call us, media outlets. There's different groups that contact us for public information so that we can help them with whatever research they're doing in the area, and we support that also. Our usership went up 6% from last year. We have 55 ARGIS member agencies, but you could say we have 64 since the sheriff represents 9 contract cities besides the Sheriff's Department. Last year we had 4,969 actual users of ARGIS Unique. You can see the data that goes into ARGIS. This is everything that we collect. It's been on a slow trend coming down since 2019. I'll show you the data after this slide, but I would like to share the testament from Chula Vista. And this kind of sums up what ARGIS does. It says ARGIS systems work quickly to provide us with the information we need in seconds. Drilling down on ARGIS data is the way to see exactly what's going on in the region while we're out in the field. Without ARGIS sharing tools, we could not be able to work as quickly and efficiently as we do. And we hear this over and over and over again from our users. These are the incident types that comes into ARGIS in last year. The supervisions will be information from the probation department. Then you have traffic accidents, field interviews, bookings, arrest citations, officer notifications, crime cases, and CAT incidents. And CAT incidents is the largest number, but know that only 4 of our local law enforcement agencies are providing that data at this time. We hope to be expanding that in the near future. In terms of our help desk, we had 451 different help desk requests. Again, we work 7/24 because half of the first responders work at night and half in the day. And I would like to say that in this past year, Linda was also the help desk. She answered the phone every time that called. Every so often, Harold would back her up if he's watching. Thanks, Harold. I appreciate that. We put out 52 service log reports. That means every week we let the agencies know what was happening in terms of applications or updates or things that were going with ARGIS. And then we deployed 156 different unique upgrades to our network and to the applications that we provide to make sure that our people had the best quality equipment they could have out in the field. This is eQuery. This is just one tool that we have in terms of doing research or query. And we had 350,000 uses on that in the past year. You can look over the last 7 years. eQuery was used 2.39 million times. It's a very detailed investigative search tool. This is the desk version of Surfers, which is a state, regional, federal enterprise retrieval system. This allows people to research cases, events, series, things that are happening in the region and outside of the region, crime trends or individual incidents. And we had 930,000 uses. That went up 300,000 almost in the past year. And you can see there's a trend. This is our most popular application that we have, the Surfers, and this was the desktop version of that. We have CopLink and Crime Tracer. You can see where the queries have gone down. I would say CopLink and Crime Tracer because Crime Tracer is the organization that purchased CopLink. So during the course of the year, it changed ownership. And Crime Tracer has different sharing practices than the CopLink had. So we had to make some adjustments with people that have. You can see where this has gone down a couple 100,000, but I believe that's made up on the other side where people were using Surfers while this was happening at this time. And you can see in 7 years, 3.4 million queries run in this area. Cognos is another reporting tool, and this is where you would do specialized searches. For example, if any of the chiefs or the elected officials wanted to know, hey, can you tell me how many, for example, how many driving under the influence arrests or collisions we had within a quarter mile of a school or this area during this time frame, you would go into Cognos, and that's the tool that we would use to make those reports. You can see they were down about 5,000-6,000. COVID came, they went way on up. Now as we're leaving COVID, it's kind of returning back to where the pre-COVID stats were. I think that part of this might have been less because we trained to 12 users. There's not a lot of people that use Cognos. This is mainly for the intelligence analysts, the information analysts, the people do that. So there's not 5,000 people using this reporting. It's a small group of people, but we trained a number of folks up and then our numbers went up in the other applications that we had. Our Be on the Lookout notices, we call them BOLOs. These are one of our most popular tools. Also, you can see in 2023, we sent out 5,251 notices to 16,000 subscribers or 16,000 people. That's more people than we have cops in the region. This is also San Bernardino, Riverside, Imperial County. We're sharing an officer is looking for this vehicle, this person, this event, whatever it may be. So we're sharing the information. If you read the testimonial from the DA's office, it said, I am 100% certain that my recent arrest, Argis Bolo, played a huge role in quickly locating and abducting child and the related suspects. Once we released the Bolo to multiple agencies, I had 6 different teams from across the county looking for her, and this made all the difference. And that's part of what Argis does. We share information quickly so it can be at many people's fingertips so our investigators can do the job that they need to do. Okay, this is Surfers again, but this is the mobile. What I showed you before was the desktop. This is what people can actually use on their phones. And you can see it went up a couple 100,000. It's in 2023, it was 608,000 queries, 2.5 million queries in the last 7 years. And again, this is only 20% of our users use this particular search because this only works on the Android phone right now. And we have 1,200 phones that we're servicing. We're working right now on getting this application to work with the iPhone or the iOS system so that hopefully in the next year or two, we can expand the ability for people in the field to just wherever they are, use this application on their phone and get instant information out in the field. I'll have an update for this for you next year when the time comes. This is our mobile field interviews. You can see we had 16,384 mobile field interviews put into the system over the last 7 years. That's 91,000 mobile field interviews that were put into ARGIS, and field interviews are incredibly valuable for identifying a time, a location, a date, a series. It helps tremendously. So the officers in the field are doing a very good job of bringing them in, and then we share it. Graffiti Tracker is a system that's been around for a while. You can see in the last 3 years, it's stayed in the 58,000 upload. Right now, the majority of people that upload the system to Graffiti Tracker are the public works workers who photograph and then you clean off the graffiti. They put it into the system so that the investigators of graffiti can have that at their fingertips to use for prosecution and restitution if someone's arrested. That was the updates. I'm going to go ahead and take you through our budget right now. For the fiscal year 25, our budget is put into 6 primary areas with a total of $9,981,153, and I did not put on the 23 cents, but that's what it's set for right now. The biggest part of our budget is staffing, that's 44%. The next part would be grants, 26%, software and development, 5%, infrastructure, network, and mobile is 14%, professional service 4%, and the basic operations and admin is 7%. And I'll take you through those one at a time. You can see the numbers on the side, but as each slide will also have those numbers with them. So here we go. So staffing, $4,430,801 projected. So we did a breakdown of what is it that our people do for this $4,004,000, and this is how we break it up into. 10% was on the cybers program, 50% network and maintenance, 50% server support, 70% application and maintenance. The majority of this you'll see is IT related because ARGIS is made up of network professionals, application developers, and then our business group. We spend a lot of time working on computers and computer systems and the networks to provide those systems. And this is how we divide it up: program administration, RGU training, and then the desktop support. So this is where the money goes when people are paying for our services in that area. Operations and administration. This is what we do to maintain what we do, and rent utilities are basically 68%. That comes out to about $504,000 to be in this facility and operate. And then we divide it up by insurance, translation, interpretation, professional services, training, general admin, mileage and parking reimbursement, travel expense, and then office supplies. The professional services are $326,000, and that primarily goes to consulting in 2 areas: the applications and then the server and the database. And the applications, like for example, it's consulting services for IBM for our Cognos applications, and it's also to enhance our current software applications and middleware. We have people that can create applications, but we still have to pay for the services for the people that support or maintain or who are the originators of the software that we have. Also, in terms of the servers and database, we're constantly trying to update our technology. We want to make sure that we have, when we say performance optimization, we want equipment that's going to work every time someone hits enter and what's going on there. And that our security is probably one of the most important things we do. We want to make sure that nobody intrudes and we can protect your data as we're sharing it with everybody. The next, probably the second largest part of our budget is the IT maintenance and equipment for $1.4 million. You can see in terms of security, this pays for our firewalls, not just the firewalls, but firewalls and then the monitoring, the antivirus service software, and then we have to stay in compliance with the state DOJ and the federal Department of Justice requirements. And we monitor over 165 servers. We maintain over 170 terabytes of information. And we have a disaster recovery program so that if something goes down, we can spin up very quickly so that the people in the field theoretically won't notice. We haven't had that specific disaster yet, but we think we can be up and running within a couple of minutes if something happens in that area. Our network also includes circuits and routers for 80 different sites. So that means while we service, 55, 60 agencies, we have to have independent connections for each one of those between us and them in our 2 data centers that we have. So we have to monitor those. We pay for not only our people, but for the tools that monitor those. And then we also support, I think it's 29 applications totally. Some we've created, some we have through in our pass-throughs. And on the phone, it's 1,200 devices. And those cell phones are also on our helpline 24 hours. And Linda also answers those questions first when the calls come. And then she wakes up the proper person in the middle of the night to address whatever that's going to be. Linda wears a lot of hats here. I just want you to know that. Software and development, $542,000. And this is for licensing. And it's also to support the in-house developments that we have. And you can see some of the licenses are Crime Tracer for $107, Cognos for $165,000. And then all of our other licenses are about $270,000. And I have to read this La Mesa highlight. It says, no single commercial product is as robust or fluid to agencies' needs as a suite of ARGIS applications and tools. Through these tools, analysts and officers across the region can more quickly and efficiently identify suspects, link cases and crime series, and communicate with other agencies. And now I've read 3 testimonies that make us look good, but it's always nice to hear when people like what you're doing and it makes sense, because that is what we're exactly trying to do in this area here. The next would be grants. In the next fiscal year, we're going to have grants from 3 different years being active during that time. We have the fiscal year 21 is cybersecurity. And this cybersecurity grant from 21, which we should be finishing next week, the install part, and then, well, part of it will be finished. One phase will be finished next week, and then December for the rest. But this is identifying our place on the cloud where we're going to be, and then setting up the security environment around it before we ever put any data or operations onto the cloud. In fiscal year 22, we have the cloud transformation. That's actually hiring the service that we're going to be using and purchasing the equipment to operate our systems once we get on the cloud. Single sign-on is an application where when someone logs onto ARGIS, they only need to have one logon and one password. When they get into the ARGIS suite, then they have access to all the applications. They don't have to remember 14, 15, 16 different passwords. It should be a little faster this way for the people in the field. Live 911 is an application where a first responder going to a critical incident can actually hit a button on their computer in their car and actually hear the 911 call that's coming in, and they can replay it while they're on the way to the call to your critical information. And right now, Chula Vista and Oceanside are using this, and they say it's a game changer in terms of that. So we're going to be helping 3 agencies. Certainly, it's El Cajon, Carlsbad, and National City. And we're also trying to add La Mesa and Escondido onto this program in the next coming year. And then every year, UASI pays for 1 trainer, 1 regional person to train people on ARGIS products for the entire region. And that trainer, of course, is Linda Chimino, who's sitting back there. I mentioned your name at least 4 times, right? She wears a lot of hats. In fiscal year 23, cloud transformation, that's when we're going to start moving that grant. We'll start once the projects from 21 and 22 are complete, we'll be moving our operations onto the cloud once the security is set up and the systems to monitor are in there. Cybersecurity will be purchasing new firewalls to go with that program, and then we have the regional training program. So that's the grants, and that's almost $2.5 million in that area. So if you look at our budget, it's $9,981,153 into these 6 projects right here. That's what we're anticipating. And Octavio and I are asking, Octavio and I will answer any questions you have on anything related to our budget or accomplishments or anything you would like to ask at this time. But we are asking that the Public Safety Committee vote to recommend that the Board of Directors approve our draft budget for the next year. With that, we'll take any questions you have.
Thank you so much, Director. Are there any comments from the members of the public?
Yes, we have 2 from the public and we have 2 virtual. The first one is Truth. Come to the podium, please.
All right, ARGIS roles and services include a $4.4 million staff implementing unrepresentative regional governance, just as I've been beating the drum in every city about. The $2.5 billion Criminal Justice Research Division is a waste because we already know the root cause of crime. The state has spent the last 4 years enabling crime. And for the work program, Prop 47 has been a disaster and retail theft's been allowed. And that has nothing to do with stolen cars. It's stores being stolen. Let's see. And if law enforcement reports crimes and then it gets categorized in all kinds of deceptive ways by SANDAG, this is a defective dashboard. The main problem with all of these systems is there's no prevention. New Scum, Gloria Fletcher, and many, many more criminals need to be locked up, or the alternative is conservatorship. We also need some clearinghouse data on what propositions and programs they pushed are actually working, if any. And by the way, pre-COVID translates to pre-lockdown era. That year has a name. It's called 2019. Have some respect. And so I'm just concerned, that the whole direction may be full of
Time is
corruption.
up. Thank you. Michael Brando, please.
Tony, you're misusing language. When you say now that we're leaving COVID, what you're actually saying is we're leaving attempted medical tyranny. That's not a joke. And it's not just here in the San Diego region. I have another book for you, Raul, The Rise of the New Normal Reich. It's by C.J. Hopkins. It's actually filled with essays about this topic, and he has a great sense of humor, and that's what makes this topic a little bit lighthearted. But like Truth said, this has been one of the main facilitators of the planned, controlled demolition of our society. And you each have a choice as to whether or not you're going to continue participating in that, or look at your conscience, look at your heart, and start changing direction, starting with this organization.
Thank you. And the next one, we have the original draw.
Yeah, it's crazy that Anthony Ray can sit there and talk about, just giving data and information, all of these agencies on crimes of the people in the community. And he sat there while I was being beaten by one of his officers when he was the interim sheriff and did nothing about it. It's crazy. You guys can come after the people. It's like in SANDAG, you have this like concierge security service that follows the people around because you're concerned about who knows what. And then we can talk about the people committing crimes in the community, but you're totally blatantly ignoring the fact that we have an invasion on our border and you're complicit in it. And we're releasing criminals on the streets with ankle monitors. So it's really disturbing to think about all of you being complicit in that. And there's already been crimes that have been committed, but you're more concerned about the people in the community and what they're doing, as opposed to the people that you're aiding and abetting in this invasion. It's very disturbing. I mean, it's like you can't even talk about public safety when you don't even know what that means.
Your time is up. And then we have our last speaker, Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you. Blair Beekman. With my 1 minute, I would like to comment that Argus, you have Argus issues on this item. We have JRICS in LA. There is NICRIC in Northern California. Argus has been something that's been going on, long before JRICS or NICRICS. Yet there must be other data collection agencies within San Diego that is more than Argus that we need to be concentrating on, working towards open, accountable practices for all of us. Good luck how those efforts can go, and that we can trust that process. And that we can, on this item today and overall, we can talk about reimagine and reform, words that President Biden has used himself, police reform. Can we talk about those issues here today with these items? Inequity. Thank you.
That concludes public comments.
Thank you. Are there any committee member comments or questions? I will then entertain a motion to adopt item number 3 to the Board of Directors.
I'll make that motion, Chair, to adopt and recommend to the General Board approval of the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Musgrove. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. And I would say that thank you so much to the officers that I've spoken to within the National City Police Department. They are very pleased with Argus and the way it operates. So thank you so much for all the good work you do. Okay, so now let's go ahead and vote.
That item passes with those members present.
Be changed. East County did vote. Because right there on the side, it's not true. So I just want to make sure to get the minutes correct. Okay, so it's
It's in there.
10 yeses.
Thank you. I'm not sure what happened with the clicker, Mr. Anderson, but we're
I'm
good.
county CDA.
Oh, I see. It's East County.
I live in East County, but
Okay.
I vote for
Okay, cool.
county.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, Mr. Anderson.
That's all right.
We're missing our mayor. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, which will be presented by Sheriff Kelly Martinez and Chris Thibodeau. Hope I pronounced that correctly.
It helps. I would have told you you'd vote yes.
Yes.
You were here.
I know, I just look at you and think he's.
Good afternoon, Chairman and fellow Public Safety Committee members. We're going to present to you today the current state of the county jail system in San Diego County, as well as our strategic framework for the next 10 years regarding improvements to the facilities. As a sheriff, I'm committed to improving our county's jails, and it's important that we have jails that not only provide the highest quality healthcare and safety for the individuals in our custody, but also that we provide a work environment for our staff that ensures their safety and value in the services that we provide. Today's presentation will provide you with an update on the state of our detention facilities, and I also want to set the stage for our next steps as we continue to improve the facilities and services that we provide. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department operates 7 adult detention facilities in 5 locations throughout the region. These jails have a combined average daily population of about 4,000 people, and nearly 50,000 individual bookings occur every year. The 7 detention facilities serve the entire region, the 18 cities, the unincorporated areas, and 18 tribal reservations. They vary in age, size, design, and operation. Some facilities are in urban areas co-located with regional court complexes. Some are in more remote areas in the southern part of the county. They range from providing high levels of security to some which are designed as medium security facilities for lower risk incarcerated persons. These 7 facilities are like small cities with a multitude of complex responsibilities at each location. From the time someone arrives at one of our facilities, they are screened for medical and mental health needs, substance use. They are classified for appropriate housing, assigned to bail, court dates, and many other activities. We provide health care, transportation to and from court, coordinate social and professional visits, feed, clothe, provide hygiene, vocational training, and take care of every imaginable need for everyone in our custody. Our food services division alone makes about 20,000 meals every day, and the logistics and coordination of all of these components is complex and requires coordination and dedication from all of my staff. This is a snapshot of what the custody population looks like. About 3,900 people in our custody, about 194 are misdemeanors, arrest or felons are in on felony charges. We have a sentenced population of about 1,400, and then the rest of the remaining are unsentenced. And the top charges associated with these bookings are burglary, supervision violations, assault, and murder. We continually look to improve and innovate in our operations. We seek preferred practices and travel around the state and the country to look at researched and evidence-based practices. We have implemented what we see as better and recognize that in many areas, San Diego was leading the way. When the state audit on San Diego County jails was released in February of 2022, many of the recommendations were ones we embraced and had already identified as needed improvements. However, given the significance of the audit report, it has been important to all of us to provide updates to our communities and to our Board of Supervisors. Our approach has been to communicate through the media, community engagement, and formal presentations to the board. In August 2022, the San Diego County Board of Supervisors supported a series of actions such as body scanning technology, which helped us keep people in our jails safe. In October of 2022, the Sheriff's Department provided an update on emergency measures to prevent in-custody deaths. As part of the Sheriff's Department's ongoing commitment to uphold transparency and communication with the community, I, along with members of my leadership team and Detention Services Bureau, held a State of the Jails press conference last summer to provide a comprehensive update on construction projects, technological advancements, healthcare services, accessibility, reentry services, and drug interdiction efforts, which are taking place across the detention facilities. Of note was an invitation for local media to tour our newest detention facility, the Rock Mountain Detention Facility. This was so the media could experience the new facility, hear about what challenges and needs went into the renovation of that facility, and what's planned for its future use. The department has significantly moved the needle toward improved and enhanced care through policy changes and program development. Since the summer of 2022, everyone who is booked into our jails undergoes a medical evaluation, including a voluntary urine screening. This helps identify any substances people have in their system when they come into our jails. The information guides the treatment plan they will receive from Sheriff's Medical Services. We've increased the medication-assisted treatment program, or MAT, and now have nearly 500 participants. The program focuses on medication for withdrawal, but also provides individual and group counseling sessions. And this holistic approach is designed to reduce demand for illicit drugs and is a proven method to help individuals suffering from substance use disorder. It also allows the department to support the continuity of care from the transition of sheriff's custody into the community and potential service provider care. The board approved, or my board of supervisors approved an additional $500,000 worth of opioid settlement funds to expand evidence-based treatment to more incarcerated individuals in our custody. Our approach also includes harm reduction. Not only does our jail staff carry naloxone to counteract the effects of fentanyl, but it is also now available to the incarcerated population for self-administration. This change has saved lives. We've created a wellness protocol called Wellness Checks, which is a multidisciplinary group of our staff that includes sworn medical and mental health providers, as well as correctional counselors. This program is designed for individuals who may not necessarily be able to communicate or advocate for their own needs. This is to ensure individuals are eating, bathing, taking medication, and are responding well to the therapy they are receiving. These wellness checks are above and beyond the mandated Title 15 security checks and is in addition to routine medical and mental health care checkups. At the August 2022 Board of Supervisors meeting, the board supported the department's efforts to augment its current fleet of body scanners at detention facilities by updating body scanners that would enhance the department's efforts to interdict and intercept dangerous drugs from entering it and being distributed throughout the facilities. The Sheriff's Department has moved forward with procuring the latest technology body scanners in a continuing effort to eliminate the introduction of illegal narcotics into jail facilities. On that note, one of the most notable changes we have implemented is the aggressive work of the Sheriff's Detentions Investigations Unit. This unit has methodically closed the gaps in our security systems that would allow narcotic smuggling. We've created a Sheriff's Contraband and Narcotics and Interdiction team that is especially trained in narcotic detection and prevention at intake. These teams use an information-led policing approach combined with body scanners for enhanced identification of dangerous and illicit substances. We've seen record narcotic interceptions at the point of booking from individuals who were attempting to smuggle drugs into the jails. These interceptions have had a direct impact on the decrease of overdoses taking place within the facilities. In addition, the department has centralized its mail processing to better screen mail for drugs. We are conducting better and more thorough searches of the housing units and individuals entering the jails. In addition to planned and spontaneous searches, we also deploy our narcotic interdiction canines throughout all facilities, including areas that are occupied by incarcerated persons and staff. Despite these new programs and system changes, a significant piece impacting our efforts is our aging detention facility infrastructure, which limits our ability to provide a level of care that is required for modern incarceration programming and service delivery. The existing facilities are not conducive to optimal delivery of care and rehabilitation services, and significant investment in the basic systems of the building that have reached end of life, including upgrades to plumbing, security, and electrical building infrastructure, is needed in many of the jail facilities. Safe jails require housing and infrastructure where the plumbing works and the security systems keep people safe. The jails need to support modern technological upgrades, telemedicine, telepsychiatry, and medical record keeping. We've been working with our county partners for some time on a master plan for ongoing facility improvements. A significant piece in those conversations are addressing opportunities for improvement and innovation in the areas the state audit raised, such as intake screening, medical and mental health administration, and safety checks. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Chris Thibodeau, Director of Support Services for the Sheriff's Department, who will discuss how this analysis shaped the detention facility's strategic plan. Chris.
Thank you, Sheriff. Per the County Board of Supervisors policy related to capital facilities planning, the Department of General Services and the Sheriff's Department have developed a detention facility strategic plan to create a multi-year capital facility program implemented through the Capital Improvement Needs Assessment, also known as the CINA. The strategic framework identifies the requirements and priorities for detention facility renovation or replacement over the next 10 years to support future funding requests to implement the plan. We are evaluating existing conditions of the facilities, identifying facility capacities and services, anticipating future facility management and maintenance needs, and providing a conceptual timeline and funding required to implement the plan. The Sheriff's Department has the legal obligation to care for persons held in custody and is responsible for booking arrestees and releasing incarcerated persons, ensuring court appearances, and providing necessary daily care for those in custody. The department provides a wide array of on-site services and programs at our detention facilities, including medical, mental health, food services, counseling, recreation, religious education, and job training. The following slide highlights notable attributes that were taken into consideration for the planned service analysis. 3 facilities provide regional intake and booking services: Vista Detention Facility, San Diego Central Jail, and Las Colinas Detention and Reentry Facility. 3 facilities are located immediately adjacent to court facilities and have direct, secure transfer for court proceedings: Vista Detention Facility, San Diego Central Jail, and South Bay Detention Facility. And finally, 2 facilities have extensive programming, reentry services, and educational opportunities in both indoor and outdoor settings: East Mesa Reentry Facility and the Las Colinas Detention and Reentry Facility. There is a potential with facility upgrades to enhance programming across the region to provide cohesive and consistent vocational training across all detention facilities. The Sheriff's detention facilities range in age from 9 to over 50 years, with an average age of 29 years. With constant occupancy and use, detention facilities typically exceed their useful service life after 30 years and are due for a major renovation or replacement. The facilities not only physically deteriorate, but require programmatic updates to provide sufficient space for contemporary medical and mental health treatment, programming, and services for those in custody. As these facilities age, maintenance needs compound, replacement parts for critical security and building systems become increasingly difficult to source, building codes change, and detention operations have to consistently respond to changes in the law. The conclusions in the strategic plan have been developed from a review of data, including 2019 facility condition assessments, the current and forecasted list of capital improvements, the current and forecasted list of major maintenance improvement projects, extensive tours, discussions with representatives of the Sheriff's Department, Department of General Services, and other stakeholders, and review of available as-built drawings of all these facilities and other documents. The current outline of the strategic facility plan for the detention facilities anticipates the following sequence of major activities as listed on the screen. While there is a comprehensive study related to the improvements and renovations of all of these, the Vista Detention Facility is the priority project based on this sequence. As identified in the strategic facility plan, the Vista Detention Facility is the next facility to be addressed in the sequence of activity. The plan identifies significant opportunities around the infrastructure and maintenance needs of the Vista Detention Facility, and a more comprehensive study is now underway. A needs assessment and program analysis will consider overall facility conditions, future population trends, provision of medical and mental health services, vocational education programs, the expansion of the Veterans Moving Forward program, and other reentry services, as well as required code and justice standards such as Title 15 and Title 24 and the American with Disabilities Act compliance. These components thread into areas for improvement raised in the state jail audit, such as intake screening needs, medical and mental health care delivery, and safety check protocols. While a renovation option will be fully explored for feasibility, so will a purpose-built replacement option that incorporates modern correctional standards and best practices. The intent is to complete the study and present an informed decision by the end of the current fiscal year. I would now like to turn the presentation back to Sheriff Martinez to discuss legislative actions impacting county detention settings and programming.
Thank you, Chris. County detention facilities continue to feel the effect of state legislation, which has occurred over time. In 2011, AB 109 was passed as a strategy to reduce prison populations. California state prisons were overcrowded and unable to properly provide the services that were required of the population. As a result, felony nonviolent, felony non-sex, and felony non-serious offenders, or N3 population, were relegated to serve their time in local county jail instead of state prison. Prior to this, local sentences were only for up to 1 year for misdemeanor criminal offenses. Currently, we house sentenced felony offenders who can spend several years in local custody. In addition, in 2014, Proposition 47 lowered criminal penalties for some property and drug offenses. The net result of these 2 measures has been an increase in length of stay and a lack of turnover or free bed space, which we previously had. We also have a more sophisticated offender in our custody, as long-term previously prison populations are now residing in our jails. This impacts our housing assignments, essentially who can be housed with who, to ensure overall safety of all the people in our custody. We have less space for misdemeanor offenders and at any one time have fewer than 150 low-level offenders and about 3,900 high-level criminal offenders in our custody, with approximately 2/3 who are not sentenced. While we have more modern jails with the Las Colinas Detention and Reentry Facility and Rock Mountain Detention Facility, the Vista, Downtown, and South Bay jails were designed and built before these laws were enacted. They do not have housing that is configured for the complex level of individuals we must now house, which includes serious offenders, some with severe medical and mental health care needs. These facilities house approximately 1,800 individuals. In 2007, the County of San Diego last received state funding for detention facilities through Assembly Bill 900, Local Jail Construction Financing Program, which helped fund the construction of the Las Colinas Detention and Reentry Facility. This facility has been the only detention facility to be constructed and fully operational post AB 109. AB 109's intent was to reduce the prospective prison population, as well as to encourage counties to invest in rehabilitative programming for its offenders to reduce returns to custody. However, the county's detention facility infrastructure was not designed to accommodate such programming, especially based on today's modern needs. Every year, legislation is proposed and passes with an eye to improving how we treat incarcerated individuals. These measures do not always consider existing infrastructure, staffing, or abilities of existing jail facilities. We should not only consider how we improve existing systems, but we should forecast future requirements and obligations that will ensure we provide for the needs of our communities and those we serve in a custodial setting. We are making some progress. This update was first presented to the Board of Supervisors in November, when next fiscal year's budget outlook was uncertain. Since then, we've received a commitment for $45.7 million in next fiscal year. While these one-time allocations in the next fiscal year are significant and address near-term concerns, the department has identified another $123 million needed in the next 5 years. This does not include the potential cost of a new Vista detention facility, which is projected at about $400 million. Managing population will be a challenge as all of these projects begin, especially with potential Prop 47 reform in the future. In February of 2024, the Sheriff's Department secured a contract for a consulting service and is beginning the outreach efforts to collect feedback from residents and leaders from San Diego County on their public safety priorities. Based on this effort, we hope to identify revenue sources for our infrastructure needs. In closing, I would like to emphasize that the Sheriff's detention facilities present an opportunity to expand rehabilitative services to a larger number of people in our custody and to improve the services we already provide. We currently have a well-researched, sustainable, and successful reentry services program, but we know that we can do more, particularly with the men in our custody. To do this, we need to improve our spaces. Using our current footprint, we know that we can create true therapeutic environments, substance use disorder treatment spaces, vocational training, and other services that will meet the needs of those who are in our custody. These improvements will also benefit our staff by creating environments that support the work they are doing, spaces that are safe, and in good working order. Thank you for the time today and allowing us to present this to you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Do we have any comments from the members of the public?
We have 2 truth, followed by Michael Brando, and we have 1 virtual, 2 virtual.
Why did the county allow the jails to get so run down in the first place? And 2 years later, instead of a commitment to transparency, I've seen a commitment to inmate deaths. Where's the strategy and the strategic plan, Kelly? So are you going to install wellness meters to see if inmates are on the brink of death? Or maybe just record their deaths? Coincidentally, the news released a video last night of Elisa Cerner's death. Elisa fell at least 12 times, had multiple seizures, and hours went by where nobody checked on her. She was pregnant and in a medical observation unit with almost no observation. She slowly twitched to death, and after that way too late CPR, deputies dragged her lifeless body out like an animal through her own urine. No respect even for the dead. Is it because some working in the jails find those held there unworthy of life? Is it improper training? Is it a lack of morality and ethics? How will technology fix that people problem? And Kelly, you already know body scanners mean nothing if deputies aren't going through them too. And somebody sent me the info about the community outreach. I responded, what can the public offer on the technicalities of building and security? All I ask is stuff works, inmates stop dying, drugs stop getting in, criminals stop being let out.
Time's up.
Kelly, this was my favorite frame of this presentation. The committed to transparency at the County Board of Supervisors. There was one lost comment I heard many moons ago there where one of the supervisors said, paraphrasing, we have to keep saying there's an emergency, a COVID emergency, or otherwise we won't get the funds. How about that? It sounds like prostitution to me. Do what I say, and I'll give you the money. So how can we trust anything that's showing up in a report like this? It almost has the feeling that this is just another operation to make money, to get money somehow, some way. It's really sad. Yeah, it's really sad. But the good news is you have a chance to turn around. Thank you.
Next, we have the original draw, followed by Blair Beekman.
I second what Michael says. It is about a business, and that's what's so sad is that everything you guys do is about business and making money and how much money you can get just to play the game. And so you have to play the game, otherwise, you wouldn't get the funding. And it's sad because, Kelly, you're sitting here giving a bunch of propaganda in order to, prostitute yourself to get the funding so that you can pretend to, make the system better. But I mean, you can't even be trusted. You exonerated Nick Gonzalez, who beat the crap out of me and is one of your officers. And you're like, nothing to see there. He can beat up women. We can beat up women. It doesn't really matter, right? So it's like you guys are the ones that should be in these facilities. Right? And how does that sound? It's like you guys sit there and you're probably laughing at me in your head going like, yeah, no, you should be in there. But it's sad because you're complicit in all these crimes. You won't even check your own officers. And then you wonder why people are dying. And it's like, not because of the people, it's because of you guys and your officers and all of your policies. But it's all about money, right? And that's why you're going to pay the price one day.
Next, we have Blair Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thanks for this item. I think I did hear a few words from the presenter that, there are attempts at talking about reform, how you can talk about ideas of reform within the jail system. At least that, from my framework and point of view, that's how I want to think and work on issues. So that's what I heard, that there's ways you want to work on that. Good luck on those efforts. As always, in being from San Jose and Santa Clara County, they're doing some important reform jail work. Community and sheriff's department and city government supervisors together, county supervisors together, working on issues of jail reform. And they're making some really decent efforts that I invite yourselves to check out as good examples on what reform can be. And thank you you did kind of mention biometric camera technology ideas, I think, to make that an open, accessible process that we can talk about more easily within the public space. Good luck in those efforts. Thanks.
That concludes public comments.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from committee members? Yes, Mr. Anderson.
I'd just like to thank the sheriff for all of her great work. It's a troubling time for the county, and she's putting a lot of focus on the things that we need to fix. And I just want to thank you publicly.
Thank you.
As a resident of the unincorporated.
Any additional comments? I would like to also echo the sentiments of my colleague Anderson. Amidst the many, many different issues, the overwhelming challenges that we face at our detention facilities, thank you for working on presenting a plan to make sure that we make these facilities what we deserve in the region. So thank you so much for all your work, Sheriff. Thank you. This is an informational item only. So moving on to item number 5, I guess that's it, right? Just to let everybody know, the next committee meeting is on Friday, June 21st at 1 p.m. And to reiterate, I know we've had this conversation in the past, but we moved this year's meetings to be every other month. All right, thank you so much. We'll be adjourning at 2:16.